29 of quarantine. I am officially going insane. Being cooped up in my home, little or no contact with the outside world. It's driving me mad. Food rations. Looks like 7 cosmic brownies is all to spare. Toilet paper. In short supply. Porn. Not enough, I'm afraid. I'm losing it. Ah! I don't know how much longer I can go on like this. And the virus is only growing closer.
I don't know about you, but this whole staying at home thing because of the coronavirus is driving me crazy. So crazy that I'm starting a new series on my channel. And since you all are probably stuck at home like me, you're a captive audience. So, win-win. And I figured you could use some entertainment. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, as you probably saw in those last shots, we're going to be taking a look at, you guessed it, a typewriter. And not just this typewriter, no. Got 2 others over here on standby, looking delightfully typewritery. Not only do we have that delightful piece of iron from the mid-20th century, we also have this one, an electric model. In addition to this sort of word processor typewriter hybrid. Now, why typewriters, you may ask? Well, purely because of the brand name, Smith Corona. Now, Corona, as you have seen, has been in the news a lot lately. Not these Coronas, though. I'm talking about the coronavirus. Quite deadly, quite scary to some. As you can see, I've taken precautions with gloves. Just kidding. I'm in my own home. I don't need gloves here. But yes, figured why not. So, Smith Corona. They're a manufacturer of typewriters, or they were when typewriters were a thing. Nowadays, they've been relegated to making, supplies for these things, as well as thermal printers and other printing things, thermal paper, stuff of that nature. So today, we're going to look at all 3 of these babies. We're also going to see, also fitting, if they can type on toilet paper. This has become quite valuable for stupid reasons, because people are stupid. But yeah, we're going to see if we can type on toilet paper. So, let's go ahead and dive right into this beauty. So, this is a Smith Corona, Silent Super, as you can see, written back there. It's a delightful little machine. Didn't look up the exact date of manufacture, but if I had to guess, this looks kind of 40s, 50s, or somewhere around there. It is all mechanical. There are no electric pieces on here, unlike the other 2. and it has quite a few nice little features, which we'll get into. First thing we're going to look at here is the typing mechanism itself. Like I said, it's not electric, it's all manual, so if I were to touch, let's say, the G key here, I would push this little arm onto this ink ribbon and press the ink onto your paper. Now it has, I don't know how many of these little arms, but I'd say about maybe 40 or 50 of them. Maybe that's a little excessive, but yeah. As you can see, there's a lovely little g, lowercase g on there, and a capital G. Now this raises up when you press the G, no matter if it's capital or not, and imprints the ink onto your paper, as you can see. And yeah, there's pretty much all letters, numbers, symbols are all down there. I'm not exactly sure what order they're in, but yes, as you can see, it looks like we got it's an I, M, 8J, I'm reading this upside down, U, N, 7, yeah, just and so on. Just seems like a random order, but I guess it's specific to how the keys are laid out, since they have a physical connection to the arm that they move. Now up at the top by this Silent Super badge, we have these little, I guess, arms hold your paper when you're typing so that your paper doesn't sort of slouch off at the back. It leans nicely against these arms. And over here we have the release for your paper. So when you're loading, you just open this little thing, put your paper in, and then push this forward, and it would hold your paper in place while you roll this roller here, which brings the paper to the typing mechanism. And down at the edge of the keyboard here, we have this little lever. As you can see, there are 3 dots next to this, and this controls the color of the ink. In this case, on this particular model with the rivets inside, we got 2 colors, black and red. But as you can see, it looks like this has the option for yellow if you bought that particular ribbon. So we got black, yellow, and red, and you switch the colors by flipping the switch up or down, depending on what you need. As you can see, it moves the ribbon accordingly. So yes, and the black and red does work, surprisingly. I think this is the factory, I don't know if factory is the word, but the original ribbon that this particular model came with. As you can see, if I turn on the light here, yes, as you can see, the ribbon is quite used. That is how much is remaining to be used, and this is how much has been used. So yes, this machine has seen quite a lot of use, and none of that really came from me because I barely used this for obvious reasons. I actually got this from my grandmother, who bought it at an estate sale, and this was during my typewriter phase, so to speak. Yes, I had one of those, and no, I'm not proud of it. That's why I have 3 of these things. Well, 4. My grandmother paid $50 for this, and it was a delightful gift, so thank you, Grandma. So, let's get some paper in this thing, and let's type some stuff. Alrighty, loading paper into the machine is simple and easy. Just pull that little lever I showed earlier, and this thing, this little bar here, holds your paper when you're typing. We're just going to insert the paper like so, clamp it down, and turn the little roller. Get it nice and lined up, push this forward, hold it in place, and let's not forget those little arms in the back that are hitting against the case. So let's see if we can move that forward a little bit. Alright, there we go. Alright, now we can begin typing. Alright, I'm going to begin by typing in the black ink first. Alright, let's see here. Let's just type a simple sentence here. See? Simple. And then we can continue by typing, I don't know, let's see what we got here. Hey, there we go. And as you just heard, there's a little bell inside this machine that dings when you reach the end of the margins that you set. Should have mentioned this before. With these things, this is how you set your margin for how far you want to type on the page. And when you reach that margin, a bell will ding. And when that bell dings, you can still continue typing, but only for 5 more letters before this little mechanism just will not let you type anymore. And at which point, you have to use this little lever to the left and push it this way. And of course I can't go the whole way because I have the arms up. But I don't think I'll need them for right now, so you know what? We'll put them down so that I can go all the way. There we go. And now, we're going to switch to red ink here. Flip the little lever. And now we can begin typing in red ink. Red, obviously. Oh, something I should note here. As you've noticed, whenever I'm typing and I press a certain key, depends on the letter really, the arm will sometimes actually get stuck against the ribbon here. And that's just because this thing is old and everything doesn't run as smoothly as it used to. This could be solved probably with oil or some sort of a loosening agent. But yeah, if this happens, you can simply just like move, like let's see if I could do it again. If I could get this one to stick. No, it's not going to stick, but yeah, if this happens and it gets stuck, all you can do is do that and no harm will be done. Anyway, let's continue our sentence here. See? Right when I start typing. Just move that back. Looks like the V printed, but not the E. But yeah. Well, to prevent this from happening, it's usually better to type slower than you would on like a normal computer keyboard. This does not take as many keystrokes per minute as a standard computer keyboard because everything just starts to jam up and that's not good. But like I said, it's probably a quick and simple fix, just something to loosen everything up, maybe some oil to help everything run smoother. And as I said before, touch typing on this thing is not really that easy. The F and J keys don't have any sort of marker on them that lets you know by touch that they are the F and J keys, so you don't know where your home row is. And also, some of the symbols are in places you wouldn't expect. For example, the quotation marks, which would usually on a computer keyboard be somewhere in this area, have been moved to the 2. And to get to them, you have to hold this shift key here or hit caps lock. This is a caps lock key. This locks the shift mechanism. But this is your shift key here. You have to hold shift and then 2, and that's how you get your quotation marks. Also, the 6, I believe this is the underscore. This is how you get your underscore, which would usually be down here next to the dash, and I think the stars in the wrong place as well. And as you can see, we also have other symbols that you wouldn't find on a computer keyboard, like a quarter and a half. Usually there's a, what is it called, like a keyboard shortcut, I guess, that you can use to get that, or you just, do word processing program, you do file or edit, and you can get that, but you have a key for it right here. These are your, this is your at and cent sign key for cents and at. And we have another shift key down here, little controls for margins and whatnot, and a tab key. So yeah, this is a pretty nifty little machine. And now it's time to look at its electronically driven grandchildren. But first, I forgot to mention this typewriter can be lifted out of this case for convenient transport, or anyway. To remove it, all you do is you flip this little arrow switch forward, and that releases a mechanism that's holding this thing in the case. But when you're done, you can just line up the typing, well, not really the typing mechanism, but the little thing up here. You can line it up using these switches, and that lever to the left, line it up so that it can fit in the case, and then close the case. Alright, I've got one of the later model typewriters plugged in and ready, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. As you can see, this one actually has a case that covers the keyboard and everything. We can see the lovely Smith Corona badge there. So let's go ahead and pop off the case and take a look. Yes, the Smith Corona SL500 has a name just like a Mercedes, but I can assure you this is anything but a Mercedes. As you can see, the keyboard looks more like a traditional PC style keyboard. Again, we have a 1/4 and 1/2 key there. These are not rubber dome switches underneath. They're very similar, except instead of a rubber dome, it's this little like metal. It's not entirely mechanical, but there's this little, basically like a metal dome. As you can see, the printing mechanism is a little different than the previous typewriter. That's because this is what you call a daisy wheel typewriter. You may have heard of daisy wheel printers, but this is a daisy wheel typewriter. And basically, the mechanism inside, unlike having a metal arm, has a physical connection to like just one letter, like on that older model. Basically what you have inside there is this. It's called a daisy wheel because it looks very similar to a daisy, and on each little pedal, I guess you could say there is a letter. I'm not sure how well that's showing up, but it's very hard to tell. Maybe if I turn on the light here. Alright, there we go. I don't know if you could tell, but there is a letter on each little pedal. Again, in a very random order, like, looks like there's Z and then 1/4 and then G. It's just a very interesting order. I'm not sure why they decided that was the order it's supposed to go in, but yeah. Basically, they're swappable daisy wheels. Let me turn off the light, that's kind of annoying. There we go. There's swappable daisy wheels. You can swap out different fonts, unlike with the previous typewriter. You can get different fonts and just easily swap them in and out. Also, we have the little switch here for opening and closing the feeding area for your paper. We have this little roller here for the roller mechanism, although, as you'll see when I demonstrate, if you hold down the return key, that also moves the rolling mechanism. Power switch is right here. And back there we have the power cord. And underneath the front, there's a carrying handle. Alright, as you can see, there's a nice little pop-out carry handle for carrying your typewriter to work. I can't imagine that's actually what happened back in the 80s when this came out, but there you go. Also, if we take a closer look at the keyboard, we can see it's very similar to a PC keyboard, except just like the other one, it has different symbols you wouldn't find on a typical PC keyboard. I'm not even sure what that symbol is called right there. But yeah, we got the, looks like a caret symbol on the Q key. We've got code and margin layout keys. Caps lock with an LED, but the LED is burned out. Looks like a little paragraph symbol. Relocate. Just various different symbols. Looks like these keys up here on the number row have different functions. I believe that's controlled using the code key. So anything that's written in red, you would basically access with the code key. I guess shift would access all your normal symbols. As you can see, the @ sign is on top of the 2, like on a PC keyboard, unlike with the last typewriter. There's another cent sign on top of the 6, looks like. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pop in some paper, and we'll see how this thing works. Alrighty, feeding the paper into the machine is quite simple. Just flip the little switch over here, open up the feeding area, just sort of maneuver my paper in there, close it. And like I said, you can use this wheel over here on the side to turn, but let me see if I can just lay this down so I can hold the camera. But if I hold the return key, it should do the same thing. I should probably lift up this too. This thing holds your paper in place like on the other typewriter. So as you can see, it rises up automatically. And I can always just lower it down with the wheel. So yeah, there we go. Nice and, well, sort of lined up. Now unfortunately, unlike the other typewriter where you could switch colors easily, your ink that is, between red and black, there is no such mechanism on this particular machine, although I'm pretty sure you could, in theory, find a color cartridge instead of a traditional black cartridge, which is in there. So let's go ahead and type a sentence. Very nice. So yeah, if you hold the space bar, you can actually move the mechanism forward. And as you heard, there's a little beep, unlike that bell in the other typewriter. There's a beeper in here somewhere. Let's see if I can trigger it again. I'm just holding the backspace key here. But yeah, let's see if we could get that beep. Not sure if that's good for the machine, but we're going to stop that. Now there is another feature on this typewriter that is a little more forgiving than the other typewriter. See, back in the day, if you were typing on a typewriter, let's see if I can do this, just typing along, I'm just typing, and then, oops, I made a mistake. Traditionally, on a normal typewriter, that means you scrap whatever work you've done and you start completely over. I don't know if they had whiteout back then or some sort of eraser, but yes. On here, there is a button. So we have correct and word eraser. Correct allows you to hit backspace and it will correct whatever letter you've typed. Word eraser will actually remember the words or the letters that you've typed after a space. Like, this is a little confusing to explain, but as you can see, I've made a mistake. Well, now you can't see. I've made a mistake there on my paper. If I were to backspace, and then, assuming the correcting cartridge is still in there, so I've hit backspace, I'm now over the T. If I hit correct, I accidentally hit the word eraser. This is not the quietest machine in the world, I should point out. I don't know how well it's coming out on camera, but this is a little loud. I can't imagine an office full of these things, but yeah. I did actually take the correcting cartridge out. In fact, here it is right here. As you can see, it was actually running out of ribbon, so I thought I could take it out and then rewind it and then reuse the ribbon. But as you can see, there's the letters that have been previously typed. I mean, that could be a potential security problem. I mean, if you're typing on an important document and someone gets a hold of your correcting ribbon or the other ribbon, because it actually does, I'll show you, shows the letters that you typed. As you can see, I've removed the ink cartridge. It's not really ink, but it's carbon particles, essentially. As you can see the words that I've previously written. So yeah, like I said, that could have been a potential security thing back then, but I don't think it really was a big deal. So we'll just pop that back into place. Close the lid. There we go. I'll demonstrate the correcting tool a little better. Alrighty, so as you can see, I've made a mistake in my typing. So basically, I want to backspace to the T and the S and rearrange them. Imagine that there's a correcting ribbon in here actually doing its job. It's not actually going to, since I've taken it out. So yeah, let's go over to here on the keyboard. I'm gonna hit backspace until we're back over the T. Click correct. And move over to the S. Click correct. I don't know why it's taking it takes a couple clicks for some reason. I guess I'm not pressing it hard enough, but when I pressed the correct key, it didn't do it the first time I did it. So We're going to pretend that those letters have been erased and just rearrange them. Although because the correcting ribbon is not in there, it looks like this. So yeah, you can imagine how that would work. But yeah, this is the SL500 Smith Corona electric typewriter. There are several other features on here, some I don't even know how to use, and I've owned this thing for like 3 years. But anyway, yeah, that's the basic gist of the SL500. So let's move on to the more advanced 1990s model. Alright, here is the Smith Corona Wordsmith. It's a little bit more fancy than the previous models I've shown. And that is because it is not just an electric typewriter. This is a word processor. Now what that basically means is it's a typewriter, but it has more formatting options. It's like if Microsoft Word or WordPerfect were turned into a delightful 1990s machine. As you can see, it's quite yellow. There's a big difference between the plastic down here and the plastic up here. And I'm not sure where it was kept in its previous home, but yeah, it's a little yellowed. But that's okay. And there's another issue with this LCD right here that we'll go into a little later. But let's take a look at some of the features. Now this does share the same printing mechanism as the previous model I've shown. It is a daisy wheel typewriter. The ink cartridge is a little different. It does have a correcting ribbon, as you can see down there. It's a little different as well. And unlike the previous model, this correcting ribbon is still in there, and I think it's still good. So I could show off how that works. As you can see, we got the LCD. It's a contrast control for the LCD. We have different functions. Like the other model, it does have a code button for different functions. We got search, delete. Yeah, it is a full-blown word processor, just in a typewriter format. Once again, putting in the paper is quite simple and easy. Just slide it in there. After opening this little doohickey over here, I'm gonna close it, and then turning the machine on. Doing this little dance. We do get a power indicator LED and a caps lock key and LED indicator, which actually works. And to turn it off, you click shift. If you click caps lock and then click caps lock again, nothing happens. But yeah, as you can see, the LCD is well, not legible. You can adjust the contrast as much as you like, but you can't see very much. Now when I first bought this thing, you could see pretty much everything on this LCD. There was only like one line of the pixels here that were missing, but it was still readable. But this thing has been sitting in storage for a couple years, and I guess over time it's just gotten worse. Like the other models, it functions like a normal typewriter. You can just type all you want. And just like the previous model, holding the return key moves the roller. This little thing up here doesn't stay in place, so you're gonna have to hold it, and then there we go. You just sort of adjust with the little mechanical roller on the side, and we can begin typing. As you heard, there was a little beep in there. As you can see, my lovely little, everyone's feeling about the coronavirus. As you heard, there was a little beep in there. And that was just a beep letting me know that I had entered the margins set for the page. Now there is another beep that happens if you go to the end of the page. For example, I'll just hold the space bar down to go there. Now, I'm not sure how well that came in on camera, but that is a very loud beep. Now, being that this is a word processor, let's get into some word processing features. Like I said, it does function like a normal typewriter, so you can use it like that. But if you want a little bit more formatting, all we have to do here is use a couple controls on the keyboard. For example, you can do bold text. Basically what it does for bold, if I were to just type a normal letter like A, as you can see, the little I guess, arm hits the ribbon once and you get just a little A. But if we were to go over to the keyboard here, we do code and then B. We heard a beep confirming that we are now in bold mode. If we go to type that same letter again, the little typing thing will actually hit the daisy wheel and hit the ink twice, as you can see, and the result is a much bolder A. Now to turn that off, it's very simple. You just hit code B again, and you get a confirming beep that says you've turned off bold. There's also, as you can see on W right here, we have underlined. So if we do that, we can go over to here and make underlined letters. As you can see, those U's are now underlined. But yes, going back to the word processing side of things, just relocate here. Basically, you can type on like a normal, just like a normal typewriter. You can just type all you want. I did a few too many keystrokes, so as you can see, it was still going after I finished typing. And you can do that, and you can correct as you need, you know, hitting the backspace. And then, as you can see, I've just typed a bunch of muddled junk, not really a word. But if we do backspace, try to erase the H. I guess the correcting ribbon on here is also not working at this time, which is unfortunate. But yeah, if I hold code and then click that same key, it will erase the whole word, so to speak. Just like with the other machine, it is quite loud and quite annoying. As you can see up here above the 7 key, there's this little TW/WP. This changes the mode that this machine is in. TW is for typewriter, works like a normal typewriter. Then there's word processing mode, so it works like a word processor. And basically, do code, we go into there. Now, normally if the LCD wasn't completely f***ed, you would be able to see an image, and I know it's kind of hard to tell, but I've typed a sentence here on the screen. It hasn't actually gone to the printing mechanism yet, but I've typed it on the screen, and if I hit the return key, the printing mechanism actually moves backwards to type. Let's get a little closer look on how that works. As you can see, the printing mechanism has moved forward, and if I hit the return key, as you can see, it prints what I've typed, and it basically hits the return key for me and moves down a line, as you can see. Just like before, we can do formatting with bold and underline. For example, here is bold, and here is underline. That I've spelled incorrectly apparently, because I couldn't see what was on the screen. Apparently I bumped the O key. That's embarrassing. But yes, underline. It's a word. At least now it is. And like with the other machine, there are tons and tons and tons of other functions. This actually has more than the other machine. And I don't know how to use them all. Mostly because I haven't picked these things up and actually used them in quite some time. And I don't collect typewriters anymore. So yes, there are probably a few dozen other features I just cannot show because I don't know how. But yes, now it is time for the moment everyone has been waiting for. It's time to see how these machines handle toilet paper. Not sure if this is 2-ply or 1-ply or whatever. It is very nice toilet paper. I don't believe it's Charmin. I believe it's a supermarket brand of some kind. So yes, it's very nice. And I must complain about something. I already tried typing on toilet paper in the mechanical typewriter, as you saw in the little intro, and it did not go well. As you could see, I only typed day 29 on there, and when I tried to return and type more, it did not go well. Long story short, I ended up having to spend 30 minutes unjamming the typewriter and pulling bits of shredded toilet paper out, and yeah, it was just a big mess. So what we do know is that mechanical typewriter it's able to type on toilet paper, but feeding it in there is not easy. So we're gonna see if we could do it on this machine. Alright, so I fed the toilet paper in there. Let's see if it oh, it's pulling it through. Oh. Can we oh my god, it's working better than the other one. Oh, my toilet paper's just falling down. By the way, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get several comments saying that I'm wasting toilet paper by doing this, but I don't care. I'm not like one of those idiots that went out and bought all the toilet paper, but I have enough to last me through this whole pandemic. So let me go ahead and let's zoom in on our toilet paper here. Let's see how it handles. And away we go. See how that came out. Oh, it's actually working, surprisingly. When I hit enter there, it looks like it got caught on the little ruler here, so we'll just sort of readjust that. But yeah, it appears you can type on toilet paper. Let's try bold. As you can see, that also worked. We can do bold and underlined at the same time. Makes them feeling rebellious. So let's do bold and underlined. By the way, my hands were off the keyboard for pretty much all of that. It does not, in bold mode, it does not handle many keystrokes at a time very fast. I'm not sure what I just tried to say there, but I'm sure it makes sense to someone. But yeah, as you can see, the toilet paper is handling this quite nicely. Toilet paper is feeding through pretty weird. This is probably not good. Oh shoot, yeah, it's not good for the machine. I've just jammed it. Okay. This is not what I saw myself doing today, jamming an electric typewriter with toilet paper, but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. As you can see, we've typed on toilet paper, so we've proven that it's possible. Although we've also proven it is very difficult and pointless because it jams your typewriters. But hey, that's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and I am going to unjam this typewriter and go edit this video. So yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.